A very good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Disruptive Education Movement with GETI, or Global Education and Training Institute. And I am back here with another dynamic personality with me, Mr. Suman Das, who is associated with National Institute for Mentally Handicapped Regional Center in Kolkata as a special educator. And it is based at Asansol. He is an athletic coach from SAI Eastern Center, Salt Lake, a sports physiotherapist, acupressure and occupational therapist for those who are suffering from physical disabilities. And overall, he has 15 years of experience in the field of education as a teacher. And from past 3 years, he has been working closely with students having physical disabilities. Well, apart from being an educationist, he is an adventure sports fanatic. 60 years as a rock climber, mountaineer, and he has been into trekking, hiking. Well, that's amazing. And today he has joined us to talk on the learning through cognitive perception. A very warm welcome to you, sir, on this platform of Getty. And viewers are waiting for you. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Fantastic. Well, as the introductions went along, the reason which I'm supposed to talk about is like the cognitive perception. And this is in regards to all the people who uh, conceived very recently, and they are in the process of giving a birth to a child to a new in a new world, and during this particular pandemic. So mostly, if the cognitive perception tells us about the fetus or the embryo after maybe 2 to 3 weeks after the mitosis, meiosis, and all whatever the process of reproduction starts off. The first in foremost type, the development takes place of a fetus is the brain. Now the brain starts developing right after the mother conceived. I mean, that is one of the most natural process. Now, if the conditions and the nourishments, I mean, of the mother, if a person is, especially a lady who is suffering from malnutrition, and apart from malnutrition, the environment. Apart from malnutrition and environment, there are other uh, things which are associated and correlated in order to give a birth and bring a child with a healthy mental development, and especially working with the MRCP Down syndrome people are basically those kids who are unable to develop at a certain age, right? The statistics shows that there are a lot of other problem which is associated during the 9 months of you know conceiving, and really things are starting off right now in a very, it's also a sort of a pandemic, like having a people having a mentally retardation, like as well as cerebral palsy people are right now are mostly are looking for special educator, and the environment in which the student can able to, other child can able to get a develop and in a more congenial environment. That is where the system needs all things. Education system, I will say, rather, it's lacking. So in this scenario, whatever I have experienced so far, it's just like people are having a lot of problem in nutrition environment, where the child is not able to develop. So whatever the mother eats, whatever the mother experience, and whatever she goes through, the same thing goes to the embryo or the fetus. So the education system or the cognitive perception, whatever the basic things which we can able to uh, teach in the environment to a kid which is not yet born yet. So it is the preparation for the mentally develop of the fetus right from the week 3 or 4 or 5, maybe. The more it is earlier, the better it is for the fetus and for the young people who can able to bring out a child into this world. And there is so much things to be done where people are having a lot of problem, especially in the Western, and mostly I'm right now associated with autism, autism spectrum disorder or autistic spectrum disorder. They are not able to communicate. So even I am linked or attached with students who are dyslexic, slow learners, ADHD. I mean, there are a hell lot of things are going on into this world where the students are unable to, pick up. Now, special education, there is nothing called special. It's like a normal, if you treat a child in a normal manner. So, no matter the development, brain development will take place, but at a very slow pace. Now, people, it's all depend upon the environment and uh, the things which are related for the well-being of a child to bring up. So cognitive perception, what is that? Like it is the learning of survival skills right from, again, from the fetus or the embryo status, from the time you can able to have a lot of things which can able to bring the best out of a child. Like, oh, if a mother, there are some researchers who have said that it's not the intelligence of a man or a father. It is the intelligence of a woman who bears a child, and the intelligence are been again transferred to the same intelligence are being transferred to the child. So it is not the man who possess the intelligence and the things. It is only the mother. Now, during the pregnancy period or during the conceive time, if a mother goes through a lot of research work like mathematics, language, recite. Now, again, the cognitive perception becomes a very strong foundation for a child who can able to, survive, and he can able to bring up the skills and can manipulate accordingly, and the adaptations in a very good environment, and he can able to channelize their energy for the good, or for the good use of the society, as well as, like, it's called sublimation, like channelizing their potentials. You can able to go for their gross motor skills, again in their fine motor skills. So there are so many things which are related to, you know for cognitive perception. Again, the cognitive perception can be also, yeah, segregated in terms of conditioning of by Thorndike, and apparent conditioning by Skinner. So there are a lot of ways that you can able to bring out the best of a child through repetition of work, and able to, channelize their energy for the good use of society, as well as for the best of a child who can able to survive and with their own skills and potentials. Now, again, as I said, environment plays a major role. So before the environment, it's the nutrition factor. Now, you might be able to come across with a lot of hormones like uh, uh, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, like dopamine. Now, the best thing which a child can able to learn happily in order to go get the best out of a child, it's the stimulation of serotonin hormone, which is also called a happy hormone. Now, this serotonin hormone plays a major role. As you know, the child does not have any hormone at that particular age, in the tender age between 1 or in between 1 and 12. It is only during the teens or after 13 to adolescent period, as well as before the age of 18. So the hormonal things which are more refined, which you can say that it's chemicals, especially those chemicals which are uh, tagged as serotonin, like in child adrenaline, like these are the things which are come across along with the nutrition factor and the environment. Now, again, the cognitive perception which a child learns when he was or she was in the embryo state or a fetus state, rather than when he comes along in this particular world. So he or she can able to go ahead and he will able to learn, which has been known as the recapitulations of whatever her or his mother has said. Like in again coming back to education system, it is only during the early intervention when a mother goes through different tests or things which are they're going to affect the fetus or the embryo, are the hemoglobin test, the thyroxine or the thyroid tests, uh, pressure, blood pressure, fluctuation of sugar if a mother is diabetic. So it has to go through different stages. Even there are stem cells of an embryo who can able to cure the mother before he or she is born. So that is pretty much. I mean, it's very very interesting. Now, how an embryo can able to, uh, yeah, like if a mother goes through any sort of a disorder or diseases or any sort of infection, that can be cured naturally. So that is also the part of the oh, a process of giving life and bringing out a child in this world. So again, the cognitive perceptions, which I always prefer, it's only during the early intervention where a mother during the pregnancy or when she been conceived, that is the time when you can able to go through a lot of hormonal changes, and that will be having a lot of uh, effect to the embryo or the fetus. Now, the dyslexic people. Now, when a mother is not in the process of able to sound, I mean, who are very much less talkative or unable to talk to people due to a lot of other factors, stress, depression, anxiety. So these are the things which have to be, you know, kept 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 aside, because if you are into anxiety or depression or in any sort of stress, that will have a considerate effect, and to be very honest, that will be having a means very bad effect on the onto the child's brain development. So that has a very major role in this particular things. If you if for the development of the kids, like if you have any questions regarding this whatever the session is going on, I will be very much honored to answer your queries. However, again, my topic accordingly not only into cognitive perception, but also the perception which you will learn through experience, like tactile perception, like kinesthetic perception. Now, there are, as you know, we have we have five senses, but researchers have found out that we have around eight senses, which are considerably pretty much more than which we are supposed to, which we have learned so far. So the researchers have also been very much into um, factors regarding environment, again regarding the nutrition, again regarding the muscle development from motor neurons, neuromuscular coordination. So whichever field you have, you cannot stick to one particular subject, like whether it is a cognitive perception, perception, or whether it is a nutrition, whether it is environment, it the factor correlated in order to bring the best out of a child. So even that cognitive perception will be, somewhat is not uh, the complete picture in order for the development, but it is also correlated with other subjects in regards to environment. Again, sound, the variation sounds which a mother hums. So, the child inside the womb of a mother can hear like the sound like "Mm, mm, mm." Like that's the delta or the alpha sound waves, which can able to, the more the brain develops, the sound perception, the constructive or the neuromuscular coordination inside the brain, that is the synapses, they restore this particular sound waves. So when he or she comes out into this world, can able to identify. There's also the scent or the olfactory senses of a child where able to, that is also a part of cognitive perception of a child before and after, or pre-birth or post-birth. So that is one of the way that you can able to go ahead, or a person who is a mother who is a pregnant should be able to uh, chant, hum, or listen to those vibrations. So that has a direct uh, connection to the brain development, especially the listening skills, and where a child can able to learn so many things. If a pregnant woman, suppose 3 months, or after that 4 months old pregnant woman, she reads out the basic alphabets. Especially, it has been found that, like Gayatri Mantra, there's a lot of scientific research have been going on, and for the past 10 or to 15 years, the IIT Kharagpur, along with the sound engineers and along with the AIMS doctors, they have considerably doing the research on Gayatri Mantra. So these are the mantras where the oration. I mean, how you pronounce a certain word, and the effect of the vibration, and the has a vibration of the words, or the Sanskrit words have a fantastic, I mean, effect on the brain of a child who is still in a embryo state or the fetus state. So that is still going on, and people are, I mean, having a lot of diseases, especially those who are suffering from diabetic. Like they are into the process of getting healed completely because of these vibration. Again, the the color perception. I mean, the sight. So those are there are some colors which are very much good for the brain of a child, like 1 month or to 6 months. So the vision are blur, but the effect of the yellow color, red, green, blue, primary and the secondary colors, and the different hues, like that has a constructive, that is also a part of the perception through kinesthetic or the tactile. I mean, you can able to see the differences of colors. And people are sometimes born uh, colorblind. I mean, again, those cells which are not have been so much into, like the rod cells, which only checks out, because most of the animal world are having rod cells. Rod cells are those cells which can able to identify another uh, things beyond, that is only in black and white. But when you have a cone shells, that is where the difference of the different colors and the hues can able to, you can able to segregate or justify. So that's this is what, even the colors having a lot of energies, like alpha, delta, and beta. So these are the energies which can radiate, as you know, vibgeo, that violet, indigo, red. I mean, when you make a circle, the newtons, that is one of the color wheel which gives a condensed, like, white color is again that the spectrum. So these are the things which she can able to go ahead, play, the again touch and playway method. Like, there are so many things. Again, that's the environment, coming back to environment. Now, if you see, there are a lot of people, or the kids who are having ADHD. Even the doctors are tagging them that they are in ADHD. They're, what do you mean by ADHD? That they are hyperactivity, hyperactive. So that is very much, it's very normal. Previously, 10 years back, or a decade, or 15 years back, people are born normal. No doctors even used to tag a child as ADHD, huh? Attention deficit hyperactivity syndrome, or development. So these are in a, it's no, very bad. It's very bad because they are in the growing stage, and their muscles are, they're growing up. So every human being, when they are very hyperactive, so that is more beneficial for the kids in order for their survival, in the how long they can survive. The more active they are, uh, between the age of 6 to 18, that is the time they are growing up. I mean, their muscles are growing up. They are producing more red blood cells than a normal adult person. So this is why, do not tag a child, or as a teacher, there was a thing, like a line. So don't mold a child according to what a teacher wants. Mold a child according to what a child wants in a natural process. So we cannot tag a person like he's an ADHD guy or he's a hyperactive. Every child is an hyperactive. If they are not hyperactive, that means they are having some problem, whether there's a physical problem or a psychological problem. But if a child is not hyperactive, that is the time when they are growing up. So their muscles, they won't be able to, because their attention spans is very, very less. You won't be able to teach a child in a classroom of 60 or 55 or 60 students. You cannot give them the personal attention. So you have to play is as if you were a joker in a circus. So they don't even now, right now, they don't even know what is a circus, because they are thinking, they are learning things online. So everything, whatever we have come across, circus plays, yeah, in Bengali we say jatra, like, you know I've been to this, been acting and all, skits, short skits, so dramas. Pe- I mean, everything is online. So how you will be able to know the expression of what, I mean, how to perceive, like, the cognitive perceptions again coming up. It's only the environment and how a parent, both mother and father, needs to be with the child for the well developed people, I mean, well developed person, in order to give them the right to live in a correct environment. Again, the nutrition factors. So I will suggest, this is a piece of advice: don't ever go for sea salt. Always go for rock salt. Rock salts are very, very much nutritious and having a lot of other minerals, especially the magnesium, that helps in the development of the synapse, and bringing out the antitoxin, or the all the flush out the toxin things from the body. So if a pregnant woman consume a more of a rock salt rather than sea salt, because sea, right now the seas are very much polluted, as you know, the polyethylene carbonate or carbon particles, which are especially like plastics, which it gets absorbed in the salt, which have a very bad effect on the brain of the fetus, or the you know the embryo. So that will have a negative impact on the child's brain development. So that is only the nutrition part, where the MR, that is mentally retarded, Down syndrome people, cerebral palsy, ASD, autistic spectrum disorder. So these, they have only one particular things, and uh, that is the rock salt. Rock salt is a blessing in disguise. Trust me, no doctors will ever prescribe you any sort of a medicine, but I mean, these is not only a medicine, but this is the food for life. You can able to go ahead and do the research. So that is where you can able to take your own decisions in order to either go for the uh, you know for the doctors in order to take things. But I will suggest you only things go for the food and the nutrition factors where you're lacking. You have to do the research on your own. So I will suggest that people who are watching this particular thing, so it is not concentrated only on cognitive perception. It is a correlations of other things which are like the neuromuscular coordination, the growth of the person. You know, again, right now, corona during the corona pandemic, it is seen that vitamin C and vitamin D are mostly needed. So even for the child who are not so much into this particular development, but they need vitamin D, that is sunlight, not for too long, at least for an hour, so that they can go in outdoor, and they have the right to go ahead and play. So play, again, play also helps in the socializing and the constructions, like where you can able to uh, set your own rules and regulations, because the play is such a thing that it is inborn. I mean, it's like you won't be able to stop a child to play. So they have their own imagination that helps in developing their own imagination. So that will help the child to grow in a proper manner for with the socializing factors, and their attention period, their consumption of again, see, after the child comes from play, they are very thirsty, they are very hungry. That means their growth or the metabolism are in a very fantastic manner. I mean, that is the way they are growing up. So they are, even if you ask them to, okay, enough of games, let's do some studies, you'll say, oh no, I'm not in a mood to study, not in a mood to sit down and study. So what are you going to do? I'm going to watch cartoons. I mean, that is also it have a effect, negative impact. But watching cartoons, because they're more imaginative, they're more into the wonder world. So you cannot go ahead and pressurize a child. So they will do the studies, but it is only the way our child can able to go ahead and learn through perception. Again, this is what cognitive perception is all about. What you learn through your kinesthetic senses, or through your motor neurons to refine it into fine motor neurons, touch perceptions, um, perceptions through your observation, eyes, listening skills. What are you going to listen to the sound of different sounds of in the environment. Touch, in when I was small, I used to just taste my buds, like there are a lot of flowers, so you can able to taste that nectar. I mean, now people are not even, they don't even know what is the difference between a nectar and the honey. So that is also a perception you learn through the environment. So that is where you can able to, you don't need to teach a child, you just give them the space where we can able to help a child to learn. So that will give them the space and the idea through which they will be able to learn. So there are a lot of right now there are a lot of online classes, but you think that online classes will really help? I don't think so, because when you are not doing any activities rather than listening, you will be you will not learn anything, but you will be able to get too much of boredom, into boredom, because you are only observing a teacher is talking. You will be not able to utilize your activity, your muscles, in order to see. Now during the class season, I mean, when I used to take the on 101 of natural classes in a classroom scenario, when you are writing on the board, the students used to come in front of the board and used to see. They are unable to see if your uh, alphabets, if your handwriting is not so big enough for the backbenchers, so they come in front. So if you are unable to see things, what is going on, so you will not be able to write it down. Again, that's neuromuscular coordination, because you need to do some activities in order to write it down, because right now people are typing it, but don't you think that the typing of on the computer screen or on the mobile, that will help their handwriting skills? No. So you need to write it down, even if it is with pen or pencil, because pencil is much better than pen, I prefer. So once you starts writing with the pencil, that will also help in the eye hand coordination, because that will not only help your spellings, that will help in your strokes. So that will help in your speed, understanding, again the perception, because we are not born as a writer. I mean, we don't like to write more than we like to read. Okay, whatever you read it out, and you practice in writing. So that is where I think the cognitive perceptions is all about. The cognitive perception, again, is the whatever you have learned in your earlier days, you bring it to action at the present. So again, the environment, the nutrition, these are all the factors which help in enhancing the child's brain's development, and also will help in the you know for the good use of the society. I mean, you don't force a child what you want to become. Like, we have a normal question, so when you grow up, what do you like to become? So we these are the tagging things which mostly our family members used to do it, like my grandfather or whatever. Like, so we never knew whatever we never knew at that point of time when we were small. So it is all it goes through the flow of life, what you want to become. So even if at this point of time I wanted to become so many things, like, even life doesn't end over here, whichever profession you are into. So it have to be like, right now in a corporate sector, you need to have a multitasking person who will be able to go ahead and take things and responsibilities which he or she likes. So trust me, if if someone tells me, so you are a teacher, so you love teaching, I will say yeah, at certain point of time, but not every time that I would like to teach someone. So unless I learn, if you don't learn as a student, how will you learn as a teacher, or how will you teach as a teacher? So first you need to learn as a student. So whenever you learn as a student, again the cognitive perception comes into play. So whatever I have learned in my previous days, now I am teaching the same things to my students. So it's all about the way, the environment, the again the nutrition factors, the hormonal changes. These are so many things. Whatever you enjoy doing will be like the perception that will be helping you in order to move forward in your professional life. And I don't know what other things about, but this is what I have observed through my teaching years, and also through my student years. So let's hope that I can able to go ahead and help the other students who are known as ADHD students, or are people suffering from dyslexia or dyslexic. Dyslexic is nothing, only the difficulty in having the language problem, right? So especially in dyslexia, pronunciation is more uh, was not so much into effect, but writing writing is the only things in dyslexia. They confuse themselves between, yeah, P and Q, small, B and D. So these are the science small things. So they have no constructive knowledge about the particular language in dyslexia I'm talking about. But also, like, it is the same thing with other neuromuscular disability people, like mentally retardation, Down syndrome. They have the same problem that will eventually come to like dyslexic. So multiple disabilities. So this is how things are into. Again, if a child wants to play, so I will request, please help a child to learn something with the use of cell phone, laptops, or computers, but don't let a child walk on computers for a period of 2 hours. That's it. Limit the hours, because the radiation will really spoil their eyes and their development. Because again, I'm coming to back, indoor activities like watching TV, walking on computers, learning codings. So it becomes more or less like a uh, robot. It's not a child. They need to go outside and play. So the outdoor activities are more important at this pandemic time, rather than wasting their time on learning. I won't say they're wasting their time. They are learning something, but it's you need to have a certain amount of time which they need to spend on in front of the computers and the things. I mean, laptops or cell phones. But uh, outdoor activities are more important right now, rather than staying back in home. So that will also help in development of their immune system. Trust me. Again, their T cells are in a growing things. So they are born with the immune systems because of their DNA structure of your parents, right? So the DNA will, the T cells, that is the T cells which we call the immune system. The T cells are in the developing stage, and they get stagnant after the age of 18, where all the vaccines have been pushed within a child. So the T cells have to be very much intact. So only by sitting indoors, and they're having, if the T cells will have a negative things according to their metabolism, according to their activities. The metabolism system only helps in developing the T cells or the immune system. So if their metabolism is not correct, if their metabolism is not doing good, therefore you don't expect the T cells to be strong enough. you know so that is how things are into process. So I don't know if you have any queries whatsoever. I don't know, I did not see any sort of queries right now. But this is how I used to teach my students, because ask them to ask me a question. So whatever they have a queries, so that will help them in order to elaborate for the better understanding of the subject. So unless a student asks questions to a teacher, that means that student, he or she, is still scared and still into the shell. So you have to bring a student out of the shell, so that they will be able to be in a friendly way, they will be able to learn. Now, see, whatever informal education helps a child to understand a basic or a things, because most of the primary students in the primary classes, they are into repetition mode. So whatever they have learned into in class or standard 1, they repeat the same thing in standard 2 or 3 or 4. So that things keeps repetition that makes them a child very, you know, they pull back. I mean, I have learned the same thing, but they don't understand that they are learning little bit more in depth. So in depth knowledge is more through the perception again, through the tactile, through their kinesthetic senses, more than only reading books. So yes, reading books is good, but for those people who are not, I mean, who are hyperactive, again, I will say those who are hyperactive, they are more into outdoors rather than indoors. So that is what the cognitive perceptions is all about. If you still have anything, I am over here. I am like into this particular thing. So I don't know how long should I be going ahead. So I can go ahead, but it's like I need to know what is the other interaction, because I have hardly interacted with anyone so far. So if you have any queries, please go ahead. So what next?
Thank you so much, sir. That was very informative. In
Okay.
detail, if we talk about the cognitive perception. As
Mhm,
of now, we don't see any queries here because your explanation was to the point. You explained so well. But I will
mhm,
request all the viewers out there to post your questions in the comment box if you have any. Definitely,
mhm,
sir will try to answer them.
mhm,
And yes, you explained clearly about the cognition perception, starting from the mental activity, thinking, remembering, learning, and using the language. And then we apply to the learning teaching thing. And you
mhm,
also told about learning of survival skills since the beginning. That's very important,
mhm,
pre-birth
mhm,
and post-birth.
mhm. Yeah.
That's very much needed. And
Mhm.
yes, the environment plays a very important role,
Vital
major
role.
role.
Exactly. Mhm, mhm.
And then how can we forget about the hormones? Yes.
Yeah.
So these things definitely affect the child. And you also talked about the ADHD, in particular about the learning disabilities. And I also took the things from you how rock salt is more good for
Yep. Yep.
health
Yep.
in place of sea
Mhm,
salt. And that was very
mhm.
informative. So
Yep.
yes, this cognition, the cognitive perception, this includes aside from senses, listening and
Mhm,
smelling, tasting. It's all about the way in which we are dealing with the information.
yep.
You told about how the mothers can go for that humming music. They can
Yep.
try. So while perception, talks about ways how to obtain the information from your surroundings. It
Yes.
also describes about the how you can actually possess, such as remembering, learning, and solving, that we already mentioned.
Mhm, mhm.
So I think overall it was a very informative session, very very
Thank you.
informative. It was in
Mm.
detail, and I'm
Yes.
sure people will definitely post their questions maybe later on, and you can share these videos with all your people out there. To I'm requesting the viewers here, they can
Mhm,
share their
mhm.
videos with all their friends and people
Sure.
around. I'm
Mhm.
sure it will be of some or the other help, that whatever
Absolutely, sir.
Mr. Das has discussed today. So
Yes.
I would like to thank you on behalf of our entire team, sir, for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Uh,
My pleasure.
It's a pleasure, sir, for
My
us to
pleasure.
have you here.
Yeah.
And definitely we'll have you again in future. Very
Yep.
soon,
Sure.
we'll try to connect with some other
Okay.
topic to talk on.
Sure. Sure.
Okay,
Absolutely.
sir. So with this,
Mm.
we come to an end. Thank you so very much.
Absolutely. Likewise, sir.
And
Likewise, ma'am. And we're looking
thank you.
forward for any queries, anything. I'm right here.
Yeah, definitely
No
people
problem.
can post it in the comment section. He'll definitely answer. Yeah. Okay, sir. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Take
Thank you.
care.
Yep.
Stay safe.
Likewise.
Thank you, everyone.
You too. You too. You too. Bye.